My name is Sam Denney. I'm the lead artist at Frontier on Planet Coaster. So the first one we showed was the Weisshorn. It's kind of like more of a traditional kind of vintage kind of style ride. Essentially, it's kind of almost like a set of trains set up in a circle, and as it goes round, this old canopy comes over. And the ride's really quite old, based in the 60s, and not that many in existence, but they tend to be part of more of a portable kind of vintage kind of thing. You'll find them in sort of American theme parks, they dot around country fairs and stuff like that. And it's a beautiful ride, has an amazing lighting sequence, and we try to stay quite authentic if we can. Wherever the mechanisms that should be there, they will be there. So any parts you see that are kind of mechanical will have all the backup devices and stuff like that to kind of make it feel as genuine as possible, really. So the Weisshorn itself is inspired by a number of different rides. As the Matterhorn and others like it is kind of quite a traditional ride. If you're a fan of kind of any kind of theme parks, or you get a lot of kind of country fair fans who like travelling rides, and they'll know these things. And there are so many different variants. So we kind of taken an amalgamation of all the best parts of those things, all these vintage parts, and kind of made our own version. So we kind of looked at how the roofing canopy works, and how the actual display, the front panels work, and all the filigree that's on there, and down to the actual cars and the canopy design and stuff like that, and kind of taken inspiration from all our favourite parts and put it all together. So a lot of research, a lot of learning. So anything in Planet Coaster we try to learn to the nth degree. So that's why kind of I love this job so much, is partly because you learn so much about so many different things, and we spend a large amount of time, good few days, just researching and having a conversation about where they come from, where they're going, sort of thing, and what can we do with it, basically. Yeah, so Hop the Gaps is kind of the first generation of wooden coasters, really. It's called a side friction coaster, and the reason it's called a side friction coaster is basically you're just held in a trench, and it uses kind of just a trench to hold you in place to stop you from sliding left and right. And it's a basic, very very basic car with 4 wheels underneath and 2 sets of wheels front and back to stop you. To allow friction down the sides, so you can roll down the sides. The only thing is, it doesn't have a wheel set to like on modern coasters to stop the car coming up and down off the track. So there's a roller coaster called Leap the Dips out there in America, and it's over 100 years old. It's still standing today. It's been refurbished, but it's a really interesting coaster because it got its name because it lifts off the track at certain points. Because it doesn't have those upstop wheels, but it's got a beautiful vintage look to it, and they refurbished it, and but it still has that kind of weird archaic feel where in the winter when it gets cold and more moisture comes in the air, it actually slows the coaster down, and in summer it gets faster, so it's kind of, you get a different weird ride experience. But it's got a great textural quality to it as well, and these kind of big steel rusty panels running down the side and down the middle. It's a lovely kind of mixture of homemade handyman kind of feel to it, but also it's actually a great feat of engineering for something that's held up for over 100 years. And we want to bring that to Planet Coaster because it's one of the last kind of bastions of the wooden coaster family, along with hybrids and traditional wooden coasters. And this was for us the last set, basically, last in the set, and we've got it now. I'm really happy about it. So. The Hop the Gaps. So the support configuration for the wooden coasters was incredibly complicated. It was like 5 months of planning alone, just on paper and just models that we were kind of just messing around before we even touched the line of code, before we even approached the program, to create a procedurally generated track that works in any circumstance that the user can generate without it looking awful, but where it actually looks correct from real world standards, was a real challenge. But the side friction coaster has a completely different configuration to that, and it has this kind of top heavy feel to it, and it has these side panels, and everything kind of works slightly differently. So it's taken a very complicated system, modifying it and changing it to work for a slightly more vintage and simpler system, but it's still working with a very complex system, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like, we wanted to do it, we just needed to find the right time and space and where we felt we'd do it, and it kind of came up at some point where the anniversary would be a great time to release this, because it's a celebration. That coaster, it's one of my favourites, and I love the look and feel of it, and I think everyone else will get a great vibe out of that. And for me, it's like a great finish to the year. Here we go. Here's the final wooden coaster in the puzzle, basically. So yeah. Yeah, so the sound design is incredible. You know, our guys spend so much time like working out how these things should sound and what the best feel is for each coaster. One of the great things we had access to was in Holiday World, we managed to shut down the entire park, and we got access to some of their rides, and we managed to film and record the sounds with a completely empty park with none of the rides running. And we were like, oh, can we run that? You know, we managed to get older wooden coasters and some launch coasters and stuff like that, and they're the bedrock to our new, basically any new rides that come out. So we get this really authentic, genuine feel to everything. So everything has weight and authenticity to it. So we try to recreate the real thing rather than what is kind of what you might expect. So not every coaster is the same. Everything has its own unique sound and fingerprint, basically. So it's a real achievement visually and from an audio point of view as well. So. Yeah, well, that was through Holiday World, and there was a bit of a negotiation, and it's something that we were lucky to do, really. But one of the best experiences in regards to that was when we created Steel Vengeance, and that was working with Cedar Point, and they approached us. Their head of communications was actually really keen to get their coaster in the game, so it's kind of a really nice serendipity moment where there was a guy who really loved Planet Coaster, and he happened to be launching one of the world's most amazing coasters at the same time. So it was like, this is perfect. You know, could we do any better than this? And he approached us. He gave us the CAD models from Rocky Mountain Construction, who are one of my personal favourite roller coaster manufacturers, and we had the track and everything. You know, what they used to build and design the coaster. So for us, that was a real coup to get the real genuine article and be able to recreate a real roller coaster, and the end result was fantastic. We launched the same day as they announced, and they did it on their in their theme park on a big screen, and it was a magic moment, sort of seeing our game up on the announcement of a real coaster. That's kind of how the testimony to how good that game is, and that fills us with such pride. And it was just like I say, a work of passion. It was quite a difficult task to turn around in time, but we got it, and we nailed it. Yes, Cascade. Yeah, so the community was always demanding, but rightly so, and that's what we love. We want to push ourselves. We want our community to kind of push us and help us to improve the game and make a fantastic game, the best game we could ever make. And we used to take it in swings and bounces, and they wanted this water coaster for a long time. It was so that's basically what it is a water coaster. It's a combination of kind of a log flume style ride, but what it does, instead of having a continuous log flume track all the way around, it breaks off into a full steel coaster. So you've got this massive boat essentially on this humongous steel tubular track, which looks fantastic. It's got this great weight and sense of presence to it when you put it in a track, and it creates these beautiful shapes in the landscape. But also crashes down, does these amazing splash sequences, but then can be a nice gentle ride that people can cruise around, and you can have little animatronic scenes going on, and kind of works with the whole kind of dark ride vibe going on. And similar to what we did with Spooky, just adding using those animatronics to create little vignettes and kind of cinematic moments, which people are really good at, and we really appreciate. Because it's great to see all that come together and create something awesome. So yeah. Oh yeah. Picnic benches was, yeah. So for some reason people love picnic benches, but then I have a confession that I love picnic benches. So I know how it's a weird thing. When you play Planet Coaster, you get this real attachment to the people that walk around the park, and you want them to kind of like somewhere for them to sit and somewhere for them to eat. It's kind of like, hold on, wait. Why can't I just give them a little table so they can all sit around as a family and they can appreciate their time in the park? And it's kind of this weird sort of semi-empathy sort of thing going on, and it kind of makes the whole vibe really cool. and it grounds the game more and gives more personality and life to it, but also adds to the simulation sort of thing. You know, it's another cool little feature, kind of, you know, to help the dynamic of the game and help the management flow, and just another way to improve your stats basically. But you know, stats aside, it is still a beautiful thing to have, you know, and we're bringing, you know, we're not just doing a picnic bench or a couple of picnic benches, we're going to do all the themes, and they're all going to have canopies and umbrellas as well, and it's going to be, you know, we wanted to go picnic benches, go big, you know, and we've gone big, and yeah, I love them, they look great. The interactions with the characters as well, the way they get on and off, they've done some real characterful animations, and they're not just like snapping on and off, they're actually getting in, stepping into the bench and interacting with it as well, and so that you know, they leave clutter on the tables and the Janet cleans it all off and stuff like that, and it's a great experience. So you can kind of, it's kind of weird. The community really liked the idea of picnic benches, and we wanted to do them, but we didn't realise how much work would be involved. But when we did do it, put it all together, the reward was fantastic. So yes, go picnic benches. Yeah. I think we've done really well to, I think with the release of the scenario editor, I think that is kind of like almost one of the last pieces of the puzzle. For me, that was kind of the thing that was missing, and I felt that was the thing that the community felt was missing, you know. And with that, suddenly there's 10 times more game than was originally. So now we've not only increased double the amount of rides since launch, added boomerang coasters, go-karts, bumper cars, motion simulators, you know, more water rides, you know, vintage wooden coasters. The list goes on. There is an almost, you know, endless list of stuff we're doing. So it's kind of hard to feel like we're missing anything, but at the same time, especially with, like I say, with the scenarios coming out, which is incredibly complex, you know, it's like it is dev tool stuff, you know, but there is always more you can add. That's the thing, because it's theme parks, it's a magical world, you know. You can pretty much try it. You know, the only limitation of Planet Coaster is your imagination. And for us, it was kind of like, how can we enhance those sets, the building sets, more rides, more scenery, that sort of thing. You know, we're planning ahead, trying to, you know, work out what the player wants with working with the community. And with the release of Spooky and the popularity and the huge success we saw within days, it was amazing. The response from that has given us a second wind to kind of really give us the confidence to move forward and start looking towards the future of Planet Coaster, and it's a bright one, you know.